Welcome to r/IDoWorkHereLady, where we share stories about employees that are mistaken for customers. And the first story is Queen Karen of House Dum Dum, long may she reign. Some backstory: I'm a banker, but due to this whole COVID-19 situation, I work at a different location than my usual branch. I live in New York, and banking is still considered an essential service, so what my bank did was temporarily close the majority of the branches in my area, and those that are remaining open are open in 2 shifts. Team A, Monday to Wednesday. Team B, my team, Thursday to Saturday. Also, we now close at 3 p.m. instead of 5 p.m., and the dress code, suit and tie, is no longer enforced. Right now, I don't really do all my normal duties, so the majority of my day is just servicing clients, ordering new debit cards, helping set up online banking, etc. We're also instructed to do servicing through appointment only, so people won't be sitting and waiting there. I also have to do traffic control. The teller line still gets pretty busy, and we can't have more than a couple people inside the branch at any one time, so I ask them to wait outside online until it's their turn. Towards the end of the day, around 2:30, I step out of the branch for a moment to take a few pulls of my vape, when a middle-aged woman walks past the line and enters the branch. I respectfully come up to her and tell her, "Ma'am, I apologize, but there's a line outside for those who are waiting to do a transaction." She just looks at me and walks away from me and sits herself down in my office. By my office, I mean my workstation, since I'm just at that branch temporarily, and only on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. But I've been working from that office for almost a month at this point, so let's just call it my office. I walk in after her and ask her what she needed help with. She just looks at me and tells me to leave. I explain that I work here, and this is my office, or at least I tried to. She gets up and comes to the teller and tells her that I'm harassing her because I think that she skipped a line. Makes a big thing out of it. The teller had my back and did confirm that I did work there and that was my office. She was expecting to see the person who usually sits in that office, but he only works Monday through Wednesday now. I asked her again what she needed help with. Normally I would explain the whole situation on how it's by appointment only now, but tensions were already high, and we are trained to de-escalate when we can, so I thought if it was something small, I can just quickly help her and not make things any worse. What happened next I will never forget for the rest of my life. She sat down in my office and told me that she needed a new debit card. Sounds simple enough, right? Wrong. I asked her for her ID, since we can't change, add, or order anything on behalf of the customer without verifying their identity. She said she left it at home, and that I didn't need her ID since she's a regular customer. I apologized and said I can't do anything without ID. She then flipped out, saying I don't know what I'm talking about, that she doesn't want to deal with me, etc. Bankers are allowed to help without ID only if they've had a consistent relationship with the customer for over a year, which the other guy probably did, so never asked for ID. She then went on to scream how I don't know who I am dealing with. She has a lot of money here. She can have me fired. She demands that I do what she tells me. I'm a bit frustrated at this point, but I'm still at work, so I still acted professionally as best as I could. I didn't want to get into it with her, and I just told her I'm sorry, but my hands are tied. She walks out of my office, sits down on the chair outside, and starts waiting for another banker. I try to explain to her he's busy with another customer, and it's appointment only, but she won't let me get a word out. I pull that coworker out of that meeting with his client, and he reconfirms that she needs ID and couldn't wait there. She just stands up and walks out. Now, at the beginning of this story, I want to remind you that all happened after 2:30 p.m., and we close at 3 p.m. By the time she stormed out, it was closer to 2:50 p.m. After she stormed out and my coworker and tellers wrapped up, we spoke a bit about it, and they told me she's always like that. Before we knew it, it was 3 p.m., and we began closing the branch, including rolling down the gate. At around 3:30 p.m., as the majority of my coworkers have finished their end-of-day procedures and have left, it was just me and a teller there finishing up. Next thing we know, Queen Karen is back, banging on the gate. She demands I open the gate. She got her ID, and she needs a new debit card. I tell her I'm sorry, but the security system is on. I can't turn on the computers and open the gate. I tell her we're closed. She screams at me saying, "No, you idiot, you close at 5 p.m. It's only 3:30 p.m. I tell her we changed the hours of all open branches a month ago, and there's a sign in the door of the lobby and on the walls around where she's standing that show the new hours. I told her she can come in on Monday when the banker that knows her will be here and she can get done anything she needs. She then goes on to curse my life out and then picks up one of the small metallic garbage cans and starts throwing it at the gate, over and over while cursing and saying she's going to kill me and burn this whole place down. Guys, never do this in a bank. The security that even the smallest bank has is no joke. Next thing you know, the repeated throwing of the garbage can at the gate triggers our alarm, which puts the bank on lockdown and calls the police. The police arrives and our security team calls to advise us on the procedure. A security rep speaks to one of the cops and says that we have footage of this woman damaging bank property, trying to break in, threatening arson, and threatening the life of a bank employee. This woman was mean, and as crazy as she was, got arrested and in tears was put in back of the police car, which I kind of felt bad about, but there are just some things a person should know not to do. Now, this lady was definitely crazy, but this is Corona 2020, and everyone's a little on edge. I didn't want things to escalate this much, but it was out of my hands. I have no idea what happened to her, or what she was actually charged with or whatever, since I read that New York is dismissing certain cases, as not to put people in jail to risk getting the virus. I'm not sure if it's a felony doing what she did in a bank though, which is a federally regulated institution. What I do know is that we had to remain in the branch until our bank security team arrived. I had to meet with HR over the phone and write an incident report, and it just goes on. I spent all today with HR as well. I'm not in any trouble or anything since security footage backed up everything I said. But this lady was something else. She thought she was queen of the world. F bank property and rules, and even the law. She needed a new debit card, and that was worth getting arrested for. The second story is, I do work there, but I can't help you. I was enjoying my day off from a busy dispatch center, where I answer incoming calls and handle whatever comes my way. This is just one division of the rather large EMS company where I worked. I walked into my hairdresser's for my scheduled appointment this winter Monday afternoon. I was looking forward to getting my hair cut, scalp massaged, and just a little girl talk. I walked in and greeted my hairdresser. I was walking towards her station. I realized I still had on my bulky winter sweater. I turned back toward the coat rack and pulled my sweater over my head and hung it up. As I was securing it to the hook, a screeching voice comes out of the depth of the salon. "Lady, do you work for them?" Me, excuse me? I looked down at my shirt and realized I was wearing one of many t-shirts that my company makes every year to commemorate the company during a week-long EMS week celebration. This particular shirt happens to have the company's name in huge letters across the back. GD it, I think to myself, as my head hangs just a bit in resolve. Me, yes, I do. I should have said no, but I was caught off guard. Lady, well, maybe you can answer a question for me. Me putting on my polite face, because now I know I'm cornered. I smiled my public smile and turned around. Me, I'll try. At this point, she literally goes off. She's asking me why an ambulance crew did something or didn't do something, and why they would ignore what she was saying, and just basically going off at me about a 911 call she was involved in. This diatribe lasts about a minute, where I'm just standing there on my day off, in a salon, waiting to get my hair cut. There are so many snarky responses I want to give this woman, but I've already admitted to where I work. I don't need a public complaint filed against me. She finally stops so I can speak, and I politely inform her. Me, I don't have an answer for you. I don't work in that division. You would need to speak to an ambulance division supervisor. Apparently, this is not good enough. She goes off again. Basically, she's just repeating her previous rant and questions. Maybe she thinks by doing it again I'll be able to answer her questions? Not a chance in heck am I going to engage this crazy woman with the highlighting foil sticking out from her head. After another minute, I repeat what I originally said. Me, I can't help you. I don't work in that division. I work in dispatch. You need to talk to one of the ambulance division supervisors. Crazy lady. But, me, I can't help you. I break eye contact and walk over toward my hairdresser, who's standing by her chair with her mouth hanging open. As I sit down, crazy lady starts up again. Only this time she's not asking me questions. She's telling everyone in the salon how she thinks an ambulance crew should do things, and that she is sure to resolve a whole bunch of problems with her advice and insight that she's sharing. My salon trip is ruined. Every time I try to start a conversation with my stylist, this crazy lady interjects as though someone asked her, or she's my friend. Lady, let me tell you, you're not my friend, and you don't know what the F you're talking about. You managed to ruin my salon trip and pretty much my entire day off. I won't wear that shirt in public again. It's been moved to the PJ drawer. The third story is from the other side. This is told from the other side, so it may not fit 100% in here. Also mobile, yada yada. Background. So a few years ago, I was a student at a dance studio. I had been there about 1.5 years and was taking a bunch of classes, so I started to volunteer there for credit. Usable for classes or dance nights. One of my duties was the front desk during dance nights, checking people in, collecting payments, answering questions, making sure that people didn't go into the studio with their outside shoes, etc. Now at the front desk, we had a list of everyone who was allowed in for free. This included staff, who I knew all, event-specific VIPs, performers, bands, DJs, and teachers of other schools that had a program where any teacher of a studio in that program could go to any dance night in that program for free. As far as I was aware, the only person who was allowed in for free that wasn't on the list was the owner. The story. So one night, I'm at the front desk when this gentleman comes in clearly not expecting to pay. I ask him his name and it's not on the list. At this point, I tell him that the list isn't always 100% up to date, so I would need an employee to vouch for him if I'm to let him in without paying. I am alone at the desk with the cash box, so I can't go looking for someone. He seems surprised and starts looking around the studio from the front desk. I thought he was looking for an employee, but he seems to be looking at the walls. Okay, maybe he's looking at the posters we have up of notable people in the field to pass the time. 30 seconds to a minute later, and the owner comes up and she greets him by name. Turns out he was the founder of the studio. Not only that, but when he sold the studio to the current owner, because he was moving country, he sold her the majority, but kept a minority of the company and became his silent partner. So I had effectively told the founder and part owner of the studio that he wasn't allowed in his own studio. He joked that they should put his photo up somewhere, so that volunteers and new teachers would be able to recognize him. And while I was assured that it was an understandable mistake, my face must have gone 3 different shades of red. They never did end up putting his picture up, but I was able to recognize him the next time he came to the studio, about a year later, and we were able to laugh about it. The last story is, Karen thinks I don't work here, since I'm too young and dumb. Context: medium-sized beauty clinic. Stud bloke Botox, IV drip and Aquanor. My uncle is the owner, and I worked in financing. 22 male with a high A voice. The story: normally I'm used to people saying you look young to work here and stuff, but we hired a new manager, while I normally work from home and manage the stocks. This Karen thought she was the highest level below my uncle. She wasn't. She was about third to the first manager. So she asked to see our state in stocks and income and profits. My uncle gives me a call and asks me to come in and show her. I agree and come in, wearing semi-formal clothing. She sees me and says, "Why are you here?" I reply, "I'm the person in charge of finance. Just me, haha." She says no, I'm too young, and to get out or she'll call the police for trespassing. The receptionist, who is also new, asks, "How much is it for a facelift?" I reply 3,000 quid. The manager says no it isn't, it's 2,000 quid. These range from 2,700 to 4,500 quid. The receptionist says, I believe him more since he's been working longer and is the finance person for this place. The Karen didn't give up, so I called my uncle and I told him, "Why did you hire this idiot in Urdu?" He replies, "Only one I could get, why?" I say, "She thinks she owns the place. Could you come over and tell her otherwise?" The Karen snatches the phone and is like, owner, tell this brat to leave the premises." My uncle snaps back, "That's my nephew you're talking about, and this is the person you wanted." So nothing big happened afterwards. She just asked me about prices, income, and profits, etc., etc. Then about 2 months later she was fired for being abusive to employees by asking them to go to the shop for her to get her coke, the drink not the drug, and stuff. She also made employees stay overtime without paying, which got found out when my uncle made a checkup, so she got immediately fired. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.